Hello everyone. Today I'm showing that my channel is for everyone. So what I did was I went to the Fabian Society. Basically they're a socialist group who've been making plans for the left since 1884. And then if you Google it, is a British socialist organization. So what I did was I got in touch with the Fabian Society and I asked them if I could also plan the future of the left so I can start making plans for the left as they do and as they have been doing since 1884. So this video is going to be all about making plans for the left. So I've taken the left's current trajectory. So here's how it goes, kind of like this. And I'm plotting where I predict the left is going and where I think we can get there faster if I make the plans. Now my first idea is because I think right-wingers are going to make us all cover up pretty soon to where we can't show all of our adornments and our sexual assets in public. I don't think they're going to let us wear skin-tight clothing much longer and have our sexual assets on display in public. They're going to force us to cover up. So a plan that I have is to, when we take our body parts off, or our sexual organs off, we can just transplant them onto our face because they can't make us cover up our entire face. So my first idea is putting the breasts that we cut off onto our cheeks. And you can see I've censored this one, and I've gotten certain inspiration from images and movies and things like that. So that's what I'll be showing. But if we take our breasts that we cut off and put them onto our cheeks, there's no way they can make us hide them. So we can have them on full display right there on our cheeks. Now my second idea comes from movies such as Men in Black, and there's one movie with Hugh Jackman. And don't worry about the image because there's tons of these videos that are not age restricted on YouTube that show the balls hanging off of chins or necks. So this is a great idea for us on the left, where we take the balls that we cut off and attach them to either our chin, forehead, or neck. That way they can be on full display in all sectors of the public life. Now I got this image because I really can't show the image or images that I want to show of the male sex organ to replace the nose. So what we could do is just replace our noses with our male sex organ, and then that way it'll be always on display and it can never be covered up. And then when we are out in public, we swing it around when we interact with people. You ever heard of Eskimo kisses where they rub noses? We can kind of take that to the next level. Here's another example of where we can put boobs right on our foreheads or on the top of our dome. And then that way, if need be, we could maybe wear a baseball cap or some kind of turban to cover it up when we're around really oppressive right-wing groups and things like that. And here's another example. I think that's Kevin Nealon, who is in some movie where he had breasts on the top of his head, which I think he said that was his favorite role, I think. Now, my next advancement for the left and future plan is, you know how currently we have these synthetic drugs that are one of the leading causes of death among young people, like fentanyl, crack cocaine, and all that stuff, meth, heroin. I think we can go a step further than fentanyl. Now, if you thought zombie tent cities and crime-infested new habitations are cool, you're going to love my idea. Okay, this one represents... I got this idea from the Avengers movie where they were disintegrating into thin air. So I think we can synthesize a new drug where right when you take the first hit, you don't even have to become an addict or anything. You just take one hit and you disintegrate into the wind. Pretty cool, huh? And my next idea for a synthetic drug is one that kind of just breaks down the whole body and you become just a blob on the street. And as your blobby self crawls down the street, you can just absorb all kind of nutrients and minerals that are within the discarded needles, the poop, and the pee. And that's how you can sustain your life, is taking in all those waste products, kind of like a bottom sea dweller. Those bottom sea dwellers that just kind of crawl along and then they soak up all the little nutrients off the seabed. That seems to me like a great idea for the future of the left. And you know how right-wingers are always trying to secure the border and make everything legal, upright, and honorable? They're going to try to get in our way of doing these things, but we're just going to have to protest harder. Okay, my last idea for a new synthetic drug comes from the movie CHUD. I don't know if any of you guys remember CHUD, which is an acronym. It stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. So I think we can synthesize a new drug where it makes the addict of the drug allergic to sunlight. Kind of like a vampire, but more like a ghoul. So what would happen is once you use the drug a few times, you'll have to go underground and then only come out at night. So during the day, we dwell underground. Then at night, we come out and we feed on whatever is living. Okay, now my next idea is all about voluntary slavery. So what we can do is have people that volunteer to become slaves, because a lot of us on the left, we know and we feel like we have to repay certain communities and groups of people. So we can repay people of color and homosexuals and women by becoming voluntary slaves, and then anybody who wants to can do that. And I would also be willing to give up my lifestyle to become king of the world, and then that way there are no governments that can oppose what we want to do, and we'll have full control over the whole globe. And then all of the people that want to become voluntary slaves, I will put them to work on creating the next world wonder. Because we have in history, and still remaining on the earth, all of these world wonders that were built using slaves and oppressive tactics. But I don't want to make it oppressive. I want them to be voluntary slaves. And I think there's enough people on the left to where we can have a voluntary slave force. Or maybe we can somehow rope the right-wingers into it too, to where there'll be so many billions of voluntary slaves that we can get enough granite, stone blocks, giant blocks out of the ground made of granite that we can then build our new world wonder out of. And I'll lead the project. Now here's an image of the Tower of Babel. So we can do something like recreate the Tower of Babel, a structure that reached to the gods, to the heavens. And here we have a 3D printout of the new design. And you can see how easy it would be to get materials all the way up as far as we need to go with this design. Okay, the next part of the plan for voluntary slavery is for white people to worship and become servants, voluntary servants to all people of color. And if you start researching who are people of color, you'll find out it's Chinese, who are even lighter skinned than white people. They're blacks, Hispanics, Arabs, and basically everybody is a person of color except for white people. So we can just make the white people our servants. And I'm not saying force anybody, but I think enough white people are already on board enough with leftist movements to where they'll sign up for it. I think most people would become servants to people of color. You know, you can go to their house, do chores. Maybe the people of color can have a room in the back for you, or maybe a little tiny house outside where you could live, and an outhouse that you can use so you don't mess up their bathrooms, things like that. Another idea I have with voluntary slavery, and it doesn't even have to be voluntary, it could just be made into law to where they have to abide by it. They have to do it. So if it becomes law, then it's not really forced or anything like that. It's just law. And law is always benevolent. It's never malicious. So my idea is to have white people, especially blonde-headed and red-headed white people, we'll make them grow their hair out long, very long, and then we'll cut it, and then we'll take it for free. We won't give them any money, and then they will give us their hair, and we can use it for people of color who don't like their nappy heads. We can just have everybody wearing white women hair. And it'll be mostly white women that this comes from. But white men also have beautiful hair. You know, into a certain age, they all have beautiful hair. So we could just make them grow it out long, then cut it, and we can use that in our fashion and in our beauty industry. See, here's a good example of a white woman. Look at those luxurious, beautiful, silky locks that have a little bit of wave to them too. That's really the kind of hair that we would want for them to grow out, so then that we can cut it and take it from them, because they owe everybody. All right, so those are just a few of the plans that I have, and I plan on making more videos like this because I got in touch with the Fabian Society, and the Fabian Society gave me the green light to start making plans for the future of the left. And that's what I'm going to do. And it's a very noble and important job that we have to start doing. So what I would like to ask from you guys watching is if you have any ideas for me for future plans of the left, or future plans for any political party for that matter, so we can plot where things are going and then take care of things that we need to squash or help amplify and promote things that we want to see happen in the future. Okay? So I'll talk to you soon. Have a nice day.